Good afternoon, Lisa.
Good afternoon, Andrew. You picked your poetry.
There.
Okay.
Doctor Who is finished. I'm ashamed.
Yes.
I'm ashamed.
I'm ashamed.
I'm ashamed that Doctor Who is finished. I'm afraid.
Yes.
Because it's the end of 1989.
Yes. It's also finished on Twitch as well.
Well,
we
that
should
too.
say, yes.
But that was it. There was no more Doctor Who at all until the TV movie.
Yes, they didn't say Doctor Who will return next year, which is what they
No,
normally
there were some
said.
vague sort of faffy quotes in like the Radio Times and things like that, saying Doctor Who may have a future.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Or Doctor Who has a future, wasn't it?
well, I'm not
On the BBC.
Yeah, right. But we don't. I don't think we necessarily fell for that.
No.
Right. And as time went on, you began to
Get vaguer things. Yes. Yeah.
But that's not entirely true,
No.
because June 1991 saw the publication of. Go on, get it out.
Doctor Who: The New Adventures, or the Nude Adventures.
The what?
The Nude Adventures.
Doctor Who: The Nude Adventures.
But this one is quite appropriate. Genesis, Timewyrm Genesis.
Okay.
With a Y.
Read me the blurb then on
Okay.
what it's about.
It's-
The series.
Full-length science fiction novels. Stories too broad and too deep for the small screen.
And too expensive.
And too expensive. Produced with the approval of BBC Television, the New Adventures take the time.
That was lucky.
Yes.
That they said yes.
Yeah. Into previously unexplored realms of space and time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's Ishtar.
Okay. So what's this
This
one
one
about?
is in Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, in the fertile crescent of land.
Infertile.
Possibly. Of land on the banks of the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, mankind is turning from hunter-gatherer into farmer, and from farmer into city dweller.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh.
That sounds like a game of Civilization.
It does, yeah.
I used to play a lot of Civilization in the 90s.
Gilgamesh, the first hero king, rules the city of Uruk. An equally legendary figure arrives in a police telephone box. The TARDIS has brought the Doctor and his companion Ace to witness the first steps of mankind's long progress to the stars. And from somewhere amid those distant points of light, an evil sentence has tumbled. To her followers, in the city of Kish, she is known as Ishtar, the goddess. To the Doctor's forebears on ancient Gallifrey, she was a mythical terror, the Timewyrm.
I didn't know the Doctor had 4 bears.
4 bears, yeah.
It's like that. Mummy bear, daddy bear, baby bear and Time Lord bear.
Time Lord bear, yeah.
Okay.
He'd have a big collar and a hat.
Yeah. Okay. But I must admit that when it came to fanzines in the late 80s, early 90s, I wasn't that bothered about Doctor Who fiction. I always regarded sort of fan fiction as the sort of filler material, in a fanzine.
In between the articles.
I admit I have never been interested in writing fiction when it comes to Doctor Who. And I have no great ambition to write a Doctor Who script.
Okay.
I'm very interested in writing about Doctor Who and the production of it and sort of studying it all.
Yeah.
But no, it's never really crossed my mind that there's a Doctor Who story in me that needs to, come out and get itself on paper. So I guess I wasn't that bothered about the New Adventures as a project. And although it was published in June 1991, I didn't rush out and buy it.
Okay.
Now, did you get the first one?
I got. I had joined the Doctor Appreciation Society by this point, and they had a book club where you could order books and a general merchandise section where you could order Target books.
I got the odd video
and,
from it and a few things like that. Yeah.
And they had an offer on these books. They made it was slightly cheaper to buy all 4 in one go. You sent off a postal order or a cheque.
Those were the days.
Yeah, and you had to cut it out of the magazine or get a photocopy. I think I got a photocopy done.
It was a little slip or something to fill in, wasn't it?
Wrote it out, sent them a cheque for whatever it was, and Genesis arrived. And then Apocalypse arrived, which is the third one in the set.
Right.
And then Revelation arrived. And
Yeah.
Exodus didn't arrive for quite some time.
Okay, what happened to that one?
I'm not quite sure. I don't know if there was a distribution problem. We did ask on Facebook, and according to one of our sources, the DWAS was in a bit of a state at the time, and they were having trouble getting stuff out. So maybe they didn't order enough or something.
Okay.
I did get it
'cause-
eventually,
Yeah.
but it took a while.
Okay.
So I think it might even not even have arrived until the next set of New Adventures books.
Okay, do you want to show the cover for Exodus?
So
first of
Exodus
all?
is, and it's by the legendary Terrence Dicks.
Okay.
And to prove that, I think
No,
it's
one
this
of those
one.
is your copies, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's signed by the man himself.
Because that's the thing, we've ended up merging our
Yeah, so we've got two of
collections,
most things.
so we've got multiple copies of quite...
the early ones, anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
I stopped getting them after a while because when they become monthly, about 2-3 years in, it
Yeah.
got a bit expensive to buy one every month. So I had to sort of pick and choose which
Yeah,
one I would
because the
want.
first run is 4 series of Timewyrm books, which
Mm.
are Genesis, Exodus, Apocalypse, and Revelation.
Mhm.
So that's John Peel, Terrence Dicks, Nigel Robinson, and Paul Cornell.
Yes.
Published June, August, October, and December. Do you want to show the cover for Apocalypse now?
That's Apocalypse.
By Nigel
Nigel
Robinson.
Robinson. We
And
have two of those.
Nigel, of course, had
He was-
written a number of Target
Yes, he was the editor
novelisations
as well, wasn't he?
and was,
Yes.
was editor in the late 80s
Yeah, and
as
there's
well.
Revelation.
And there's Revelation, which is
Sort of set on the moon.
Paul Cornell.
Mm.
But Paul, of course, came up from, from Doctor Who fanzines. That's
Yes.
the thing. He's very much a fandom sort of trained writer, isn't
Yeah.
he? And that's what was good about the New Adventures series. It gave a way for writers to sort of have their first book published. Because there are people that you sort of disappear and are never heard of again, but there are also people that go on to very successful
Yeah.
careers in television.
Yeah.
And
Mark Gatiss.
Yeah, Mark Gatiss, Gareth
A certain
Roberts.
Russell T
I mean,
Davies.
yeah, Russell wrote one. I don't think it was necessarily his big break in his sort of...
But I think it was his first time
Yeah.
writing Doctor Who.
But I know Mark Gatiss said that when he got his book, which was Nightshade, which was the one... It was sort of a bit Quatermassy,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember reading an interview where he said he got the proof copy of it, or whatever, or his copy, and he just sat and stared at it because it was a Doctor Who book,
And
and it had
name
his name on
on
it,
it,
and he
yeah.
just... That was amazing.
Yeah.
That it said Doctor Who at the top, and it said Mark Gatiss
At the bottom.
at the bottom,
Yeah.
and that was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And I can sort of imagine how excited
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting series because it starts off with what is a sort of historical, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But the whole
a pseudo historical.
yeah, sort of. But
It's historical.
the whole
science
point
fiction,
of
I
this
guess.
series is, as you say, that it is doing. It's gone for a more adult approach.
Yes.
For compared to what was on the telly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we have to now flag up the August the 11th, 1991 News of the World piece, which is wonderful. And I found it finally. Took a bit of searching, but there we go. It says, "Sexterminate him. Doctor Who's Too Blue." Yeah.
And it was very lucky that Sylvester McCoy was appearing in a play at the time.
Well, the picture of
That's why I
Sylvester,
make it.
which is, it says, "Hands off my Daleks, chaps." I need to sort of zoom in on this a bit. Sylvester was appearing in "Having a Ball" by Ellen Bleasdale at the Liverpool Playhouse, which was set in a vasectomy clinic, and Sylvester, 47, spends most of his time running around in the Altogether, and there's a picture of a Dalek over Sylvester's, little Sylvester.
Yeah.
Goggle-eyed theatre fans reckon he's a big success in his raunchy new role. Does he look a big success there, or just a sort of medium success?
Possibly a medium success. I wouldn't like to comment on it.
No comment. But yeah, there's a few quotes from fans who are sort of appalled at the nudity and other things that are in this book. So yeah. But
Nothing ever changes.
no, fans appalled at Doctor Who doing new things.
Yes. Shock horror.
Yeah. But I remember DWB did a sort of pretend review of if this season had been season 27.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what they thought of it and who directed it and this, that, and the other. And was it the Terrance Dicks one is quite fun, isn't it?
Yes,
because this is what the War Chief
and
the son of the
and
War
the son
Lord.
of the War Lord.
The War Lord. That was even worse than James Breen.
It was, yeah. And it was set in 1951, Festival of London, Britain. And it's basically a story of what would have happened had the Nazis won the Second World War.
I mean, it's that old thing. I mean, it's not an original idea.
It's not an original idea. It's been done many times, and it's still being done now because the BBC did Fatherland.
Yeah.
And there's a series called The Man in the High Castle, which is set in America, which is split. One part is occupied by the Germans, the other part is occupied by the Japanese.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, the DWB sort of review said it was a great coup to get Edward Brayshaw back as the War Chief.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly was a great coup to get him back, because at that point he'd passed away, wasn't he?
He had, yes.
And who was playing the son of the War Lord?
Ross Kemp.
Sorry?
Ross Kemp.
From EastEnders?
From EastEnders. Apparently he looks like Philip Maddock a bit.
Okay, I really don't. That's really rather
It's
strange,
quite odd,
isn't it?
Yeah.
But I do have one more sort of story to do with these things, and that's the Paul Cornell story.
Yeah.
Because it was, and I've looked this up on BBC Genome because you can look it up. It was Saturday the 21st of December 1991, and BBC Two were doing one of their sort of themed sort of days or nights or whatever, and it was all Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
So it included Christmas Night with the Stars 1964, which is the Jack Warner one that we've talked about on episode 4 of Round the Archives, which has recently been uploaded to YouTube, so you can see it there. Where was it the Likely Lads sketch where they're having the argument about Rupert Bear annuals, about Edward Trunk and Edward the Elephant and all that.
The Elephant, yes.
Yeah. But they also showed Hancock's Half Hour, Ericsson the Viking.
All right, okay.
And some Christmas Top of the Pops stuff as well. And I remember our friend Fiona came round and Paul Cornell had been brought along, as it were. 'Cause I didn't really know Paul.
No.
But I think it was me and my mum were doing Christmas presents up on the floor with like loads of wrapping paper, big scissors, and lots of sellotape. And sort of we went upstairs, and because I had my video recorder and I had my schedule of what I wanted to record that day, so I had to keep stopping and starting the video.
Yeah.
And sort of we went upstairs and saw a bit of Christmas Top of the Pops and stuff. And my mum didn't know who he was.
No.
But for years afterwards, she used to refer to Paul Cornell as that boy that came round our house with all holes in his trousers.
Yeah.
And I don't think Paul ever got to know that, but I love the fact that that was all Paul Cornell was to my mum. He wrote for Doctor Who. Oh, that boy that come round. Yeah. So that's a brilliant sort of mum thing, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yes.
But it was certainly I think it was a success.
Yeah.
Overall, because they immediately followed it up with a 3-part series. Cat's Cradle. Cat's Cradle.
Cat's Crucible, isn't it?
Cat's
Time's
Cradle.
Crucible. Time's Crucible.
No, Time's Crucible was
it's one of the books.
Is one of the books. Hang on.
One was written by Andrew Cartmel, wasn't it?
So it's Cat's Cradle is the series. It's Time's Crucible by Mark Platt, Warhead by Andrew Cartmel, and Witchmark by Andrew Hunt. Ironically, knowing what we know about Andrew Cartmel, having a story with cats in is quite appropriate, isn't it?
Yes, he likes cats.
But then you get Nightshade by Mark Gatiss. Paul Cornell comes back with Love and War.
Yeah, Transit.
Ben Aranovich, Transit. The Highest Science, Gareth Roberts.
Yeah.
You got David Banks. writing for it, and you soon start to see the same names coming back.
Yeah, it's the people that they know can write for it, isn't it? You know.
And I understand that perfectly. That if somebody's had a success, you're very likely to say, "Please come back and do some more."
Because I didn't get I got the first 4, and I think I got the Cat's Cradle ones. I'm not sure I ever got around to reading it. I'm terrible for that.
Yeah.
Buying books and then not having time to read them. It's too many books and not enough time. And then after that, when they started to go monthly, as I said, it started to get a bit expensive.
Yeah.
So I had to pick and choose which ones to get. But I remember getting, and I can't remember where I got it from, I'd been after Blood Heat, which is a Gary Russell alternate. That's actually... Yeah, it is a new adventure, but it's a crossover with the Silurians.
Hang on.
And it's
Blood Heat is Jim Mortimer.
Oh, Jim Mortimer, sorry, not Gary Russell.
Yeah.
No, the Gary Russell one I'm thinking of is Legacy. That's the
Peladon one. Yes, that's right. That's a little bit later.
I got that out of the library. When I used to go to the library. But yeah, Blood Heat, that's the Seventh Doctor goes. It's an alternate world, isn't it, where the Doctor's killed in the Silurians. The third Doctor dies
in the Silurians. Yes.
Yeah, and then obviously the Silurians take over the world, and it's quite a nasty book,
because the cover
is
like a Silurian riding a dinosaur or something, isn't it?
It's quite a nasty book.
Yeah.
That is my only. You don't get it so much in the first 4, but that is my only thing about that. The fact that they take them in a more adult direction quite often takes them in quite a nasty direction, which for me Doctor Who has never been about.
No. Right.
Which put me off some of them.
We haven't read it yet.
No.
Despite having it for many years.
Yes.
But we should say about Sky Pirates.
Oh, Sky Pirates. Yeah.
It's a book by who is it? Dave Stone.
Dave Stone, yeah.
Published July 1995, and it's called Sky Pirates! ! Which is important. Because we were at a convention where JNT sort of was doing a sort of auction. He was the
auctioneer at the charity auction.
And they had several job lots of New Adventures books, like sort of 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, and it was ones we didn't have.
Yeah.
One of them being Sky Pirates! !
Except JNT had probably never heard of Sky Pirates! ! So, and I think there were several copies of it, weren't there?
Yeah.
And every time he'd sort of read through the list of books, you know, it'd be like Infinite Requiem, Human Nature, Original Sin, Zampa, Sky Piratsky. And you, what? What's Sky Piratsky?
There isn't one called Sky Piratsky.
Is it some sort of Russian one?
And we bid on
some character. Hello, I'm Sky Piratsky.
Yeah. You bid on it, didn't you? And you won the first lot.
Yeah, and whoever was like taking the money, I sort of whispered in their ear and say, "For God's sake, tell him it's called Sky Pirates," because he's just coming across like he doesn't know what he's doing.
And then,
they had another lot,
and it was just Sky Piratsky
again. And I just really had to stop giggling in the corner. I'd almost have to leave because I just love the idea of a book called Sky Pirates.
Because I think amongst that we got, because obviously we should say after, I'm not sure when they start the Missing Adventures. That's about 95, is it? Something like that, mid-90s. Which is obviously older Doctors, older than Sylvester, Doctors up to the 6th Doctor. And it's stories that fit into in between stories, isn't it?
Yes, that's
right.
So,
and one of those is Invasion of the Cat People.
Yeah.
Which I think is the 2nd Doctor, Ben, Polly and Jamie. It might just be Ben and Polly, I'm not sure if
Goth
Jamie's in it.
Opera, which is the Paul Cornell one, is July 1994.
94.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got Invasion of the Cat People.
Invasion of the Cat People is a Gary Russell one from August 1995.
And it's Ben and Polly.
Ben and Polly. Didn't we get Annika to sign it, I think?
Possibly.
Vaguely.
It's upstairs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's got it on the cover.
I didn't read so many of those, but a few of these names sort of.
Well, Goth Opera. I remember Goth Opera. There being a big hoo-ha about Goth Opera.
That's Nissa's covered in blood, isn't it?
Yeah, because the first cover had Nissa in her
vampire thing.
It's a vampire book, and because it ties in with Blood Heat, which was the idea was that you buy Blood Heat, and Goth Opera was like parallel to it.
If you read both books, you got more out of the other book.
Yeah. But Yeah, the first cover for Ghost Opera had Nyssa in her stripy top
Yeah.
with blood all down it and with vampire teeth with blood on. And there was so much of a hoo-ha about it, they changed the cover.
Yeah, W.H. Smith complained about
Yeah.
there was too much blood on the cover.
So they changed the cover.
Yeah, and just tidied it up.
Yeah,
It was a
took
lot.
the blood off. Actually,
There's a few spots,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I think it's a different top as well. And actually have her in the second
Oh, I can't
change of
remember.
outfit.
I can't remember. I need to.
Yeah.
Hang on.
So,
Let's have a look. Goth opera.
but,
White. It's a white top actually.
Yeah.
If you look.
but I think the first one was the blue top.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Okay, don't know.
I might be wrong.
Novel's cover was originally to feature a far more graphic image of Nissa's shirt covered in blood. The artwork was adjusted and the blood airbrushed out when W. Smith insisted they would not stock the book in that form. Because I guess it was still the thing that Doctor Who was still
kids'
thought
programme.
of, not necessarily a kids' programme, but the books were thought of as kids' books.
Yeah.
So, in attempting to make these books more adult, they sort of came up against a few brick walls in terms of who would stock them.
Yeah.
Because it was that thing, and I remember going into bookshops like Smith's and things like that, and looking for the new adventures and missing adventures, and being annoyed they were still in the kids section. They should have been in the sci-fi section. You know, that's the thing. But you'd go, where are the Doctor Who books? And they'd point you towards the kids section, and you'd sort of shuffle off,
next to Noddy.
grumbling, sort of, no, they shouldn't be here if you read them. Yeah.
Waterstones now stock their Doctor Who books in the sci-fi section.
Oh yeah,
So-
now it's not a problem, but
Yeah.
this was the thing that retailers maybe didn't get the message or
No.
just ignored it,
Yeah.
and they thought, Doctor Who is just still a kids' series of books, isn't it?
Because I think they did this whole linked thing again, didn't they? Later on with Terrance Dicks. Terrance Dicks wrote Shakedown, the book version of Shakedown, and I think it's David McKinty. I think it's the Lords of Time or something, which is a Sondheim story. And again, they dovetail together.
Okay.
I think that's
I can see
correct.
Downtime, but
Shakedown.
where is it? Where's
Okay.
Shakedown? I can't really see that.
Well, that's not a missing adventure. That's a new adventure.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Lords of Time was the missing adventure.
oh, this is getting complicated.
It's getting
you see.
complicated, yes.
I
Yes.
don't know.
So it was quite a late one, Shakedown, I think.
Shakedown.
So there's Shakedown. That's Terrance Dicks.
Came at 6 December
Yeah.
1995. Oh yes, it forms a sequel to Lords of the Storm.
Lord of the Storm. Sorry, not Lords of Time.
Lords of the Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's.
And it was Lords of something.
That's a Fifth Doctor Turlough.
Turlough one, yeah.
Gosh, this is complicated, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So you could get a lot out of it, and I mean, you still can get copies of the New Adventures and the Missing Adventures.
Some of them you can pick up really cheap.
Yeah, but some are really expensive.
Some, for one reason or another, really expensive. Lungbarrow.
Hello, Lungbarrow. Yes.
Now we had, was it 2 copies of Lungbarrow? You
I think we
one.
only had we only had
Did
your
we
copy.
only have one?
Yeah, I read it and then we sold it.
For about 35
Yeah.
quid or
and
something?
I really struggled reading it because it's Mark Platt, and Mark Platt does do
No,
good
it's a good
stuff.
book.
It's a good book, but it's got a lot of very
But what was it you
interesting
said
concepts.
you saw it the other day for?
£145 on eBay. That doesn't mean
What?
it's going to sell for that.
100 for
Yeah,
a book
for one book.
that cost about
Because
6
it's
quid.
really, really rare. It's
Right.
the last. It's the last Virgin
Seventh
Doctor.
Seventh
Doctor book. Sorry.
There is an
Just
eighth Doctor
just
one, The Dying Days.
Yeah, before the TV movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. And they are available still, the New Adventures. Look on eBay.
Maybe
you can
we should
normally
have hung
buy
on
big
and
clumps.
tried to sell it again. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you wouldn't have sold that though, would you? That
No.
was quite a long while ago we sold it.
That's
yeah.
true.
No.
Okay, well there's the New Adventures.
Yes, so and we'll be back again to talk about more things that happened in the wilderness years,
Okay.
including some alternative doctors.
Ooh. Okay. Bye bye then.
Bye.